great pharaoh. The gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the five rivers.
Beatsmith music.
Hey, what's good? What's good, everybody? Hey, man. I appreciate everybody pulling up, man. I appreciate everybody's patience, man, today, man. We had a little bit of a late start, but hey, we'll get to it today. We got a lot to talk about. The NFL Combine reaction, the latest with the Raiders. Offseason is basically almost pretty much here. Next week is free agency. Josh Jacobs was franchise tagged. We'll talk a little bit about that. Derek Carr finally gets signed. He gets signed by guess who? The Saints, which is messed up. Derek Carr, come on, man. You should have been traded, man. But we'll get into all that, man. But man, I appreciate everybody's patience, man. Let me get into the chat, man, because I know y'all in there. Let me get y'all in here real quick. Let me see. Oh man, damn, y'all been commenting since. Oh my gosh, Sean Schefter Johnson, as usual. Salute Pharaoh and Raider Ray. Let's get it. A lot of things are happening. Things are heating up. Facts. Daniel Kim says, salute Pharaoh, salute Ray. Lots to discuss based on the tape. AR-15 showed exactly what we know. He's dang athletic, but missed outs against the air with guys who aren't covered with no pressure on him. I like how you kind of like wrapped it up with, you start off nice, but then you just kept it real at the end. Okay. All right. I can't hate on that. But we got Dodgers, everything in the building. Says, what's good, fellas? Let's get QB in round one. Got to put our chips on the table. Hey, I'm not mad at that, man. There's a lot of options at 7 that the Raiders can do. ONT6 in the building, my guy. So what's up, brother? Okay, when's next? Okay, he's talking to Dodgers, everything. But I appreciate you coming through, ONT6, my guy. Let's see who we got in here. Man, y'all, whew. That's my QB. Who's that's my QB? That's my QB. He says, the suspense kill me. I just want the dominoes to fall and days to pass. Hey, I know, man. Hey, come on, man. A-Rod is just playing the attention game. I think gambling on AR-15 is a must because if he's a jackpot and not a bust, we take the throne from the Chiefs. I like how you think, bro. You're trying to hit home runs out here. But, hey, I'm not going to let my co-host wait any longer. My guy over here, Raider Ray in the building. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Nation?
Let me give it a triple horn in there, man. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Yeah, what's good, man?
Man, nothing much, man. Like, hey, so let's get into it, bro. Like, people already been waiting. They want to talk about Raiders football. Obviously, the NFL Combine is completed now. What are your thoughts, man? What do you? Let's actually, you know what? Let's get into before we get into the Combine. No, you actually know what? Let's start with the Combine. We'll talk about the other stuff later. But what are your final thoughts on the NFL Combine? I mean, there's a lot to get into. I'm sure you're going to look at it when you have time. But what were your thoughts from the weekend?
I think a lot of it was to be expected, especially at the quarterback position. I thought the quarterbacks had a heck of a day. Anthony Richardson included. C.J. Stroud did good. I think Bryce Young might have actually, not that he hurt himself. I still think he's the number one consistent overall pick. But I think he should have threw. I get the weight issue, but I think with the performance that the quarterbacks put on, I don't think it would have hurt Bryce Young at all to go out there and throw the football. So overall, not a ton of surprises, to be honest with you. I think the biggest was the Jalen Carter news. That was unfortunate that had popped up. Who knows what that does to his draft stock? I don't know if the Raiders are completely out of that just because, speeding, death, a little bit too close to the Henry Ruggs situation. So I don't know if he's completely taken off of the board. But overall, I really liked what I seen out there.
Yeah, man. I mean, we weren't really surprised. I mean, the top QBs look like the top QBs. AR-15 pretty much showed why a lot of people are kind of excited about him as far as his athletic ability. I mean, man, we kind of seen it on tape. We seen it when he played with Florida last season, and it showed on the Combine, like 4.4 speed, 244. He's bigger than I thought.
He's
Like,
huge.
bro, 6'4", 244 pounds, and you're running a
Huge
4.4?
quarterback. Yeah.
And not that it matters, but 40-inch vertical, I mean, I guess that matters
With
when you're
Andre
trying to jump
James
over
at
the end zone.
center. Yeah, Andre James at center at times, he might need to use that vertical every now and then.
Man, and especially if you're gonna use his athletic ability when, running these QB draws, these
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
you already know what I'm talking about. Like, he's
Yeah.
gonna be using that athleticism. A good offensive coordinator is gonna use his skill set. Hopefully it's Josh McDaniels, but it is what it is. I kind of, like paying attention to the combine and seeing everybody hyped about Anthony Richardson kind of made me think like, man, like it's a little too much hype.
It is.
A little too much hype, where it's kind of like, you know what? Hey, and you kind of before the show, you said that you seen a mock draft, which is crazy that this would even be a possibility, but a lot can happen between now and the draft. And you said someone was mocking Bryce Young to the Raiders and dropping all the way to 7. They didn't even have to trade up.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Right now, this is the season. Look, to be honest with you, I've seen Anthony Richardson go number 1 overall to the Indianapolis Colts, which is another absurd mock draft. Look, we're coming off of the combine this week. Let's let the dust settle, let free agency pass, and a lot of these boards are going to shake back out to what they were pre-combine. The combine should just justify everything that you've seen on film. And I think each quarterback specifically showed and justified what has been on film of them the entire offseason. CJ Stroud just was knocking it out of the park. His accuracy was beautiful. I think he only missed one deep ball. Anthony Richardson had some miscues short against the numbers on the sideline. You know what I mean? I think it was only two of them that kind of sailed on him a little bit. It still hit the receiver's hands. But again, I think these quarterbacks showed a little bit of what their flaws have been, things that we've already known about. But I think it just justified everything that we think of him. Anthony Richardson, 244 pounds, running a 4.4, who can just flick his wrist and the ball goes 70 yards. I mean, these are things that we knew. It was just justified. So now the big question is post free agency, where do these quarterbacks fall on the draft board?
Right. And the thing is too, if the draft was tomorrow, a lot of people would be saying that Will Levis would be the 4th QB off the board as of right now. And Will Levis is there at 7. Are you taking him at 7, or you're going to trade back down and think that you can get him that way?
Me personally, I mean, I'm not the biggest on Will Levis. Like I stated in the last live that we did, I could make a case why the Raiders at 7 could pick any one of the quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that they would be wrong if they did. But if I'm GM and I'm sitting at 7 and Richardson and Young is off the board, I'm trading back. I'm going to take one. I'm either taking the best defensive player on the board, or I'm trading back and I'm getting more picks. And maybe we can land in that teen area, go get a good lockdown corner, maybe a Devon Witherspoon, and just accumulate more draft picks and really build up this roster.
Van City has 2 words for you: Lamar Jackson. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm a fan of Lamar Jackson, but I just don't think it's right for the Raiders. I say that because you're going to give up 2 firsts, and then you're going to give up at least $250 million in guaranteed money.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that's the right way to build, especially if we're wanting to go out there and create a defense.
Yeah.
I don't think Lamar Jackson is the route to go for the Raiders.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I mean, not the player. It's just more like the Raiders are not in a position to get a player like him. Like they can't afford to lose like the cap space that they'll be getting, that Lamar Jackson will be taking up, that would be needed to build a team around him. And on top of that, like the draft capital, like, I mean, 2 first-round picks?
2 first.
2
and then on top of a contract. Now, the 2 first rounds isn't what I'm necessarily concerned about. Like, if you told me we could get Lamar Jackson for 2 first and the guaranteed money was a lot lower than what his asking price is going to be, then you could justify it, right? Because you've seen these quarterback trades. I mean, look at what they gave up to go get Russell Wilson. I mean, they unloaded the cupboard to go get a guy like that. So 2 firsts for a guy like Lamar Jackson, I don't necessarily think it's crazy expensive. It's just the guaranteed money you're going to have to give him. And on top of that, I think people forget Lamar Jackson has only played like 1 or 2 games in December and January of football in the last couple seasons due to injury. So Obviously, injury concern is something if you're going to give up that much money and give up that kind of draft capital is to keep a guy like Lamar Jackson healthy late in the year when it matters most.
Yeah.
So that's a no for me. I mean, I'm going to pass even though I'm a huge fan of Lamar.
And Baltimore has to be like pretty confident to give him that type of franchise. I think, what was it, a non-exclusive franchise tag, meaning that teams could negotiate a contract and pretty much, offer Lamar Jackson a contract, and in order for them to, obviously, though it gives Baltimore opportunity, but they're pretty confident that they'll match any contract that any team will offer. But they're also confident that it's going to be a contract they'll be okay with, because they feel like no one is gonna. But the Texans felt confident in what isn't it how
No.
Deshaun Watson?
Things that I've heard that scouts were saying behind the scenes is that the relationship with Lamar Jackson, it's not going good at all. So the fact that they landed this tag, like, he will be talking to teams, and I would not be surprised at all if a deal gets done and Lamar Jackson moves.
Oh, so you feel like he's gonna go to a different team?
Yeah, I think that relationship has kind of soured a bit, and I think that started last offseason.
Well, it won't be the Raiders.
It's not going to be the Raiders.
Won't be the Raiders. But speaking of QBs and changing teams, Derek Carr finally signed with a team that early on showed interest, and he signed with the Saints. Was it yesterday, or was it officially yesterday or today?
Yeah, I think it was official yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday he signed a 4-year, $150 million contract, $70 million guaranteed. He worked his contract in a way so it could benefit the Saints, because if you've seen like how his cap hits were crazy, I think like next year it's only like 1.5 mil or something like that. I seen something like that, which is crazy. But the Saints finally get their guy. It's kind of bittersweet because, like, man, like, come on, Derek Carr, you could have been traded. We could have got like a 2nd-round pick or maybe a 1st, but that was never going to happen. I mean, as soon as Derek Carr starts talking to the Saints, he was like, all right, he's not going to weaken the team that he's going to go to if he has an option. He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that, man. But, oh, man, I think this is one of my first. Let's see here. We got, let me see.
We got a super chat.
We got a super chat. Okay, so this is my first time doing the super chat. Hold on.
Yeah, just click on it.
Hold on.
Derek Carr going to the Saints. I mean, good for him. I'm just glad that we can kind of move on. He's in the NFC. Just kind of let it go. There's a lot of funny money in that contract too. So,
D Menace 4200, one of my mods, man. I appreciate this guy, always supporting, man. He says congratulations on getting officially monetized. I really appreciate that. I'm not gonna say too much, but it was a little bit of process. But hey, I'm thankful I was able to get that. I started my channel like less than pretty much a year ago. So it's been a road, it's been a process. So I really appreciate everybody supporting me and finally got monetized. So yeah, I'm definitely excited. And my guy, another mod, Daniel Kim. I appreciate my guy, Daniel. He says, "Agree, congrats, Pharaoh. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I really do, man. I appreciate it." But yeah, what were you saying, Ray?
No, I was just talking about Derek Carr, the contract. A lot of funny money going on there. Look, when you got $60 million cap hit with Michael Thomas, one of your weapons, yeah, you've got to take a $1 million salary cap hit for next season. Essentially, it's a 2-year, $70 million fully guaranteed. There also, I thought it was funny, he threw in a no trade clause with this team as well. So yeah. Derek Carr is obviously a guy who wants to be in control of his own destiny.
Yeah.
So let's just see. I mean, he's going to a really good run game, solid defense, solid weapons on the outside. So
is Kamara gonna even play next season?
I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will.
We'll see. But then the Saints are pretty excited. They're pretty excited. My guy Raph in the building says, Raider Ray Farrell, salute my brothers. Hey, I appreciate the super chat, Raph. If you haven't subscribed, go to Raph's channel and subscribe to his channel. Good guy over there, always showing support. But yeah, man, it was the right choice for Derek Carr. I wish we could have got something out of that trade, but hey, you know what? I'm still gonna be following along. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, and I know you got some of y'all that's saying, "Oh, I don't care anymore about Derek Carr." You're gonna be paying attention. You're gonna be keeping tabs. You're gonna see how well he's doing over there with the Saints. He was a quarterback for the Raiders for like 9 years, so you're obviously gonna pay attention. But yeah, oh man, the super chats keep coming in. Problem TV, my guy, my day one. One of my day one guys, man. When we went live in the beginning, man. Hope all is well, my brother. He says, congrats, my guy. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the support, brother. He's seen the beginning. Problem TV seen the beginning. But yeah, man. Hey, it was a smart move. He went to the NFC South, and he pretty much went to one of the easiest divisions in football. NFC. If you compare the NFC and the AFC, it's almost like, come on, it was a smart move. Look, there's a reason why Tom Brady went to the NFC. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a reason why he went to the NFC. But yeah, let's get into the next topic, man. Let's get into Josh Jacobs, man. He's franchise tagged. The Raiders finally made a move. They're gonna franchise tag him. I seen somewhere. I don't know how true this is. Maybe someone in the chat could correct me if I'm wrong. Josh Jacobs is not following the Raiders, so I don't know if that was. I don't know if that was fake. Y'all can confirm that. If anybody knows about that. But that being said, I'm sure Josh Jacobs doesn't want to be franchise tagged. He wants to be under contract, especially as a running back in his prime years. He wants to get some guaranteed money. How do you view this move?
Listen, the Las Vegas Raiders did the right thing by franchise tagging Josh Jacobs. I get asked all the time, should the Raiders extend or franchise tag Josh Jacobs? And the answer has always been to tag Josh Jacobs. I've stated it before, the 1,600-yard season, multiple touchdowns. I mean, coming off the best career year that he's ever had, is this going to be the new standard for Josh Jacobs? And ultimately, respected people that we've talked to, it's not the new standard. Matter of fact, this might be as good as it gets for Josh Jacobs. And are you comfortable paying him $14 to $16 million on a new deal? I understand he's young. I understand that he's coming off a historic season. But for me personally, with the amount of holes that are on the defensive side of the football, if you're going to extend him to a huge contract, you have to make sure that you're locking in a rookie quarterback deal. To me personally, I don't want to pay a running back $14 to $16 million. And you're seeing that collectively around the league with Saquon Barkley getting franchise tagged. I think for an organization standpoint, the Raiders did the right thing by tagging Josh, especially for this season. Throw some money on the defensive side of the football, go get a rookie contract, lock him up for at least this 2023 season, and then see. Let's see what kind of year he has back-to-back, okay? Let's see if he can stay healthy for this year too. The running back situation is a gamble, and there's a lot of guys that you can replace Josh Jacobs with. I also want to raise a question to you. Is Josh Jacobs a product of a good system and a scheme up front running the football, or was it Josh Jacobs stepping into a new level of his play? That's another big question that I got.
Man, and Raider Primos, appreciate you coming through. He says JJ not following the Raiders is true. So yeah, man, he's definitely not happy about it.
Well, they've got till July.
He's open to the possibilities of moving on too. I wonder if he covers up the Raider tattoo if he goes to a different team.
Oh. Just leave it, dude. Just leave it. You committed to it. Just leave it.
You think Cleveland Farrell covers up his tattoo if he doesn't come back? It's just one of those, like, you know what?
Story. It's a part of your story.
Yeah, man. But I really appreciate the Raider players, man. They really cared about playing for the Raiders to do something like that. But hold on. Let's see. Someone said something right here. I wanted to pull up the comment right here. Is it so yeah, it is true. Okay, it's true. He's not following them on Twitter. Okay. Yeah. See, look, this is the new age, y'all. When players and stuff like that don't follow people, this is a big thing. You got to pay attention to things like this.
It drives me nuts. Like, oh, they unfollowed him on Twitter. That's a huge statement. Like, come on. Well, he can't see the updates of the Raiders posting in the offseason. Whatever.
Anthony Provencio says trade Jacobs. Whew. Man, does that deserve a shots fired? I think that deserves shots fired a little bit. You know what I mean? Because Josh Jacobs, man, he put on the show. He's been one of the Raiders' most consistent players. You could probably point to certain inconsistencies, like obviously he doesn't have that big play ability like all these fast running backs in the league, but he's been consistent, meaning like getting 1,000 yards pretty much the majority of every season he's played. He's gotten 1,000 yards. Maybe one season, I think.
Yeah, he didn't.
I think it was it 2021 season? Was that the season where he didn't get 1,000 yards? But for the most part, he's been pretty consistent, and the team has been dependent on him, especially when they made that run. I know a lot of people kind of pointed to Derek Carr and his leadership, which was big, but Josh Jacobs did carry that offense down the stretch, and that O-line played better down the stretch. And
my question is like, you've got Josh Jacobs, and if you pay him 14 to 16 million, obviously you've got Devontae tied up in a big contract. You've got Hunter in a big contract. You've got Darren Waller tied up into a big contract. Do you really go down there and do you pay a guy like Josh Jacobs 14 to 16 million? I love his game. I love Josh Jacobs. I love everything about it. But I mean, I guess you could make an argument for it if you can get a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal. But what are you going to do on the defensive side of the football?
Yeah,
that's a lot of guaranteed money offensively. A ton.
LB Maximus says Titans are selling the king, and the king I'm meaning King Henry. Derrick Henry heard is on the trade block, but I think their situation is like it looks like they're going rebuild mode
complete.
So they're trying to trade all their assets, and they're pretty much them putting Derrick Henry on the trade block is a sign of them trying to see like, okay, what can we get for Derrick Henry? It doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but when things like that happen, it's like, look at Amari Cooper's traded. We got a first round pick. Khalil Mack obviously got traded not because of him not being a good player, is because the Raiders couldn't pay him and whatnot. There's a lot of different reasons why that happens, but yeah, man, I get it, but it's hard because it's like he's a great player too. You know what I mean? Josh Jacobs is a great player. It's not like he's a good
player. Can make a case for both sides of it. It's just, what do you feel? Do you honestly feel comfortable paying him? Say the contract's $15 million a year. Are you doing it? Because it's got to be at least a 4-year deal. I don't think he's going to do this 3-year team-friendly type of thing. He's a running back. He's going to get paid. So if it's $15 million a year, what are you going to do?
Do you think his game ages well though? Like his game?
I think you've seen the best Josh Jacobs this last year. I don't know that he touches those numbers again. I really don't.
But do you think it's a good sign to not sign a player like that? You know what I mean? After
I hesitate. I get buyers beware, specifically in contract years like that, because he's averaged around that 11 to 1,200 yard mark. Now, granted, I'll give it to him. He did have Tom Cable up front. You can make every type of argument for the offensive line, and Josh has elite vision in the backfield. His ability to make guys miss and to see holes late. He's elite in that category, and I give it. He deserves all the money he's going to get. It's just I don't know that I feel comfortable giving him that kind of money. I don't know.
I get you. And Jizra Perez, he says, appreciate you coming through. He says, not all stars follow social media teams. Okay. That's a point right there. And he also says he'll be back. I can see it. Well, we'll see. We'll see, man.
I think he'll play on the tag.
Parker Raider in the building says Jacobs was the rushing leader behind a terrible O-line. He showed his worth and his talent. I wouldn't say. Would you say it was a terrible O-line? I think
it's not a terrible O-line.
I don't think it's a terrible O-line. I think that the O-line played better than what they did the previous year. You could probably say the previous year, especially where the season started in 2021, the O-line played really bad. And then they
if you want to talk about the guard position, that's where, like, when you're talking about Alex Bars, okay, I'll hear you out on that. But when you're talking about right tackle, Jermaine Illuminor had some penalty issues. But overall, as a pass protector, as the ability to run the football, Jermaine Illuminor did good. Matter of fact, he's on my list of Raiders that I want to see them re-sign.
I will say this, though. A lot of what made Josh Jacobs great this year especially was making guys miss, which has always been his game, and breaking tackles and being shifty. But especially this year, like when there were certain plays where like, oh, okay, looks like he's going to be stopped for like a 2-yard loss. He made something out of nothing. He did that a few times.
And that's hard.
The O-line playing well as well, but they weren't all the way there. You know what I mean? Like you just said, you mentioned the guard play needs to improve. They're probably going to have to attack the draft or this offseason, maybe pick up a guard or two. Because guys, there's going to be some new faces on O-line next year for sure. Maybe 1 or 2 at least.
And look, I'm not going to say, like, if something were to happen to Josh Jacobs, Zamir White is not the replacement. Okay, I never bought into that narrative that Zamir White was going to replace JJ. That's just not going to be the case. But you can get a running back into this system and still find success. Now, is it going to be 1,600-yard type of success? More likely, no. It's not going to. He's not going to put up 2,000 all-purpose yards. But you can still move the football in this offense without paying the running back $15 million.
ONT6, man, I appreciate you with the super chat. He says, rank your QB prospects 1 through 5. Memberships next. I'll answer the second question. Not as right now. You know what I mean? There's things I got to work on behind the scenes to make that a possibility. But I appreciate you asking ONT6. But Ray, you want to start with your QB prospects 1 through 5?
Yeah, I obviously you start at the top of the board with Bryce. Quarterback 2 is obviously going to be CJ Stroud for me. 3 and 4 is where it's going to be a coin flip. It's pretty much based off of your taste. For me personally, my QB3 based off of upside, lack of weapons, not very good offensive play calling. Both of these prospects you can make the same case for, but Anthony Richardson, I think everybody who follows this channel knows I'm high on Anthony. He's obviously not the finished product. He's not the guy that is like CJ or Bryce who's just ready to go right now. I do think if you get Anthony Richardson, I don't think you sit him. I think this is a guy who has 13 career games. If anything, he needs the experience. He needs to get in the fire a little bit. And I think you put him around a Devontae, a Waller, a Renfro, Josh Jacobs, and you're talking about a guy who could be dynamic and create some plays. 4 for me is going to be Will Levis. But if I'm going to be honest with you, if Hooker was healthy, I would have Hendon Hooker above Will Levis. To be honest, and Will Levis
take, man. That's a hot take, man. I'm gonna give you shots fired right there. Because a lot of people have Will Levis as like a top 3, top 4 at least, very least.
You can make the case, but and look, Will Levis, he has every intangible that you want, right? Big body type of quarterback. Lost his offensive coordinator this last year. Struggled with probably the worst offensive line in football, in college football. Again, lack of playmakers on the outside, much like an Anthony Richardson. Yeah. So you can make a case. You really could. So I see why people would like Will Levis. He's got some things in his game that I like. But to me, I would still take Hendon Hooker, to be honest with you.
I ain't mad at that. That's my QB says, hey, man, he has a hot take right here, man. He says AR-15, number 1. Number 2, Stroud. Number 3, Levis. Will Levis? Is it Levis or Levis? Levis. You got DTR number 4. Wow. Okay, that's a hot take right there. A lot of people have him in the later rounds, but he had a solid combine, and then he has Hooker number 5. Okay. He definitely got his QBs, man.
I seen it in the profile picture.
And we got a friendly little reminder from one of my mods here, D Menace. He says, you want to make sure I gotta set it up real nice. You gotta hit that like button. Appreciate it, man. We need this support so we can keep coming back with this content. So make sure to hit this like button. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well, because the road to 3K continues. I'm right there. I'm right around the corner. So would love to get to that number. And once I do, I'm definitely going to be celebrating with y'all. And then as well as my guy Raider Ray, man, me and him, we switch off each week on our channels. So if you haven't subscribed to Raider Ray, please go ahead and do so. My mods can post Raider Ray's channel as well. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button, man. But yeah, let's get back to it, man. Raider Primo says, damn young, even on there. Hey, you know what? I'll say this about Bryce Young, man. I think he did himself a disservice by not being in the combine at all. I know he did the interview thing. I know he's probably like, hey, I'm the Heisman winner and I'm the most ready QB. I'm the best QB. But at the end of the day, a lot of people have questions for his size, and pretty much all the QBs threw. So probably, hey, it wouldn't hurt for him to just throw and show his ability, his accuracy, and show that what he can do. But I guess he's going to wait patiently until his pro day to show off what he has. But
I don't know if it helps your stock standing next to Anthony Richardson throwing the football, if size is a concern coming out into the draft. When you're barely touching 6 foot and you weigh 195 pounds and you're standing next to a 6'4", 244-pound athletic specimen, then I don't think it's a good look.
But you know what though, he did come in at 204. Or it was 204.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy into that.
Is that water weight?
Yeah, that's a lot of water weight.
A lot of water weight. 2 gallons of water.
Offensive players are going to lose a lot of weight. That's just how it typically goes. Defensively, you're able to put some weight on. So the guys that are walking around naturally, 232, 222, 217, 244, in Anthony Richardson's case, they're going to stick around those ranges. And if not, they're going to come down a little bit. It's not that common that you're going to have a quarterback stack on weight like that and maintain it.
Mm-hmm. Arkham Raider says CJ Stroud or Young in the first, Hooker in the third, Levis and AR-15 are not worth an early pick. Man, that's a hot take right there. So you're not a big fan of going for high upside players. I know AR-15 is a classic boomer bust pick. Levis, I don't think he's as boomer bust as AR-15 because he did have a good 2021 year, and then at 2022 he was hurt. You could probably question the coaching and the talent around him. But hey, man, I get you. You want the safe picks. You want the CJ Stroud and the Bryce Young. But the thing is, those guys are probably going to be the first two QBs taken, and they're going to be like within the first 3-4 picks.
If you want a shot, I think at Anthony or Will, you might be able to stay put at 7 and get maybe Will Levis. But I'm telling you, I honestly feel like the Raiders might have to trade up into that 4 or 5 range. If I'm being completely honest, if they want to go get a guy.
Yeah. Rito Prima says he says he agreed, bro. We should have worked out. He should have worked on a comment. He should have showed scouts his talent up close. Yeah, facts. But he's gonna wait till the pro day, so he's gonna wait. And the benefits of that, he's gonna have his receivers. He's gonna be throwing in familiar territory, so it's kind of a comfort thing. But hey, I mean, I guess that's what happens when you win the Heisman and you have all that success. You just feel like you're that guy. Like he feels like he's that guy out there. But let's see here. What we got? Who we got? We got LV Maximus says McDaniels like pocket passes that do what he says.
Auntie Six has a good one.
You say Auntie Six? Yeah. Hey, to be honest with you, if McDaniels gets a rookie QB, the rookie QBs are gonna do what he says.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who it is. Let's be honest. Like if it's a rookie QB, it's perfect for a guy like McDaniels because he'll have full control. I'm sure the young guy's going to come in. He's going to listen to whatever McDaniels has to say. It's kind of questionable if McDaniels gets a veteran, and if he does get a veteran, it has to be a guy that he knows. Mm-hmm. So like a Jimmy G, Tom Brady, guys that know how to be with him. I mean, work with him as well as they had in the past. I just don't think that like early on when people were talking about Aaron Rodgers, I'm like, come on, man. Like if he had issues with Derek Carr, imagine Aaron Rodgers. Like Aaron Rodgers, like he's a strong personality.
Yeah. No, that's not going to be a fit. But no, Auntie Six makes a good point. Talk about re-signing Jarrett Stidham and getting AR-15 and letting him sit. I would disagree with the letting him sit part. I think you let those guys compete in training camp. I'm under the impression with 13 career games, Anthony Richardson needs all the experience that he could get. If that means he has a rough rookie season, but he learned a lot with getting a lot of starts under his belt in the National Football League, then I'm all for that. Look, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm looking down the road. And let me make a case for Anthony Richardson because I understand the traits. I understand the skill sets. And you're comparing him to a Bryce Young and a CJ Stroud. In this division, when you have Patrick Mahomes and you have a Justin Herbert, you've got a Russell Wilson, you need somebody who's going to be a little bit different. Now, what is the ceiling on a guy like CJ Stroud? Is he going to push the division title? Mm-hmm. Who knows? I mean, if AR-15 hits and he is a boom type of player, he's so dynamic in the aspect that he has the ability to compete with those guys like the Mahomes, like the Herberts, the Russell Wilsons. And in this division, you need a guy who can do something different because, look, we've seen Patrick Mahomes beat the number one defenses in the National Football League. I know everybody's saying is the number one defense is going to beat Patrick Mahomes. I don't necessarily believe that all the time because we've watched him time in and time out beat the top defenses in the league. So you need somebody dynamic at the quarterback position who's going to be different. You go get a CJ Stroud. Okay, what's his ceiling? What does he look like 5 years down the road? And is that ceiling a top 8 quarterback in the National Football League? Is it a top 5? I don't know. But when you're looking at upside of if Anthony Richardson were to hit and were to succeed and thrive, you're talking about a player who can play the position uniquely and compete with those guys in our division.
We got, hold on, let me get to this comment real quick. I was just reading some of the comments here. T. Zavir in the building, he says, Stroud went toe-to-toe with 2 cannon arms and outthrew them both. That's baller stuff. Levis is a see it and throw it guy, no anticipation. Stroud will be there at 3 unless teams move up. Are you sure? T. Zavir, I mean, hey, the way people are talking about Stroud, he might go number 1. there's a chance that Stroud could be the number one QB taken just based off the combination of what he's done in college. Obviously, his skill set, his size, his athletic ability, and then the combine was pretty solid. He didn't run or anything like that, but the way, just like you said, he was the best guy out there throwing a football. Now, does he kind of go before Bryce Young? It's a possibility. I think it's going to be a preference and how comfortable that franchise is with going with. But like, hey, there's a month and a half to go, so we'll see how teams are going to like really put guys on their board. But yeah, man, I'm not mad at Stroud, but it's crazy how Stroud early on was a guy that he could possibly drop to 7, but now there's no chance. There's no chance.
No, Stroud's not going to be there at 7 at all.
But yeah, you know what? We're gonna do something. We're gonna bring something back today. And I actually want to put this on. Hold on 1 second here.
Hold on. I want to read Auntie Six. He was kind of responding.
Hold on. Where's Auntie Six? I'll put it on the board real quick.
Says, I understand what you're saying, Ray, but even Devontae Adams said it last season during training camp, learning McDaniel's playbook is like learning another language. And I agree with you there. My pushback on that would be, we heard Josh McDaniels say with the combine interviews that if they were to bring somebody in, rookie quarterback, they're going to tailor the system to their strength. If they see that Anthony Richardson would be struggling with the playbook, I would imagine that they would simplify terminology to have Anthony Richardson succeed year one. If a guy like Mac Jones went into the Patriots offense and found success and was able to win football games there as a rookie, probably had his best year, to be honest with you, then I do believe that Anthony Richardson could come into a scheme and pick up the playbook, especially with all those weapons.
Oops. So I just put the number on. We're going to do something different today. We're going to bring this back. It was a success the first time we did. We just haven't done it in a while. But I just put down the call-in number. If you guys want to call in and let us know your thoughts, man, of the Raiders offseason, just talk Raider football, call in. Just keep it clean. Keep it respectful. It is YouTube, and YouTube is not friendly to anybody who comes in and just says, everything that's on your mind. So just keep it clean and just talk football, man. We'll have a good conversation. So the call-in number, as you can see, is 628-333-9343. If you want to call in, go ahead and call in. I actually will put the number a little bit more clearly. I'm trying to. Did you
want to do the 7 picks?
Yeah. So after we'll take a couple calls and then we'll finish it out with the mock draft. So we'll finish it out with the mock draft as well. That's going to be coming up as well. So. But hold up, let me just take a few calls. Why is this not working? All right, let's see. I think we might have a call here.
Call from
Raiders Primos.
All right.
Press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello, Raider Primos. Appreciate you calling in. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's good? What's going on, Farrell? Mr. Ray, also.
What's going on, man?
Just wanted to, give my thoughts on this Josh Jacobs franchise tag. A lot of people freaking out about it. My thoughts on it initially were like, man, what are we doing? But at the same time, like, I think we got to also remember what Josh Jacobs said. He said, it's either you're going to pay me like a hero or you're going to build around me. Well, the free agency hasn't started yet, so the Raiders couldn't really do anything to show Jacobs, like, hey, we're going to build around you. I think, with that July 15th deadline, it gives them more time to work out a deal, and also it gives a chance for Josh Jacobs to see, okay, the Raiders are going out, getting maybe a quarterback in free agency, or, hey, JJ, we drafted CJ Stroud or we drafted Anthony Richardson. That it's showing Jacobs, okay, Ziegler, McDaniels, they are building an offense that it doesn't really have to be all about me. It doesn't have to be me taking, scoring the points, scoring the touchdowns, because I feel like that's what we've seen last season, hence why he had the rushing yards that he had, the rushing touchdowns he had. The offense was basically him and Devontae, and I understand where he was coming from, saying that quote, and hopefully, this offseason, the Raiders will build around him. That way, maybe the negotiation period won't be such as at a stalemate.
Okay.
Do you would you be okay with paying him $15 to $16 million a season?
Now that's where I had an issue with. We went actually live earlier today talking about this. Like, when it comes back to negotiation period, and who knows what the asking price is for JJ, but let's say hypothetically it is the $15-16 million range, because I think Saquon, or not Saquon, who's the highest running back right now? I know it's like 14-15 million they're getting.
No, I know Saquon before getting tagged was asking for 16. So I would imagine JJ's in that range of 14 to 16, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and that's where I was going based off of, because I was hearing that too, and I'm like, these in any position with wide receivers, quarterbacks, they want to be the highest paid at their position. JJ had an amazing season, so no question he wants to get paid as the top running back. My argument was, I said it in the season, Josh Jacobs will get paid, will get his money, but it may not be from the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
And that does hurt, because I would not pay $60 million for a running back. We've seen it time and time again when these running backs get their money. Ezekiel Elliott, he didn't really get his money, but he's been on the decline when he's overworked. Jacobs, we can't lie, he's been overworked by the Raiders, and it's shown by injuries. He's been, he has played, but he's played through injuries. He played through injuries in 2021. He's played through injuries last season. He's going to get more beaten up as the season. He's already beaten up now, and as we go into next season, I don't think we're going to see another 1,600 season. We're not going to see another season like he had last season. So paying $16 million for a running back when, let's be honest, in today's NFL, running backs do grow on trees. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Maybe not caliber like Josh Jacobs. Not saying, hey, we're never going to find a Josh Jacobs. We may never find a Josh Jacobs, but we will find a running back that will be suitable for the Raiders. What's more important is the Raiders quarterback position. And I would not pay $60 million to a running back, because we just got rid of Derek Carr because of that contract. It would be another situation maybe if, Jacobs is not holding up to the end of the bargain. I already said Hunter Renfrow. We paid Hunter Renfrow money. He was injured. Darren Waller, we paid him money. Chandler Jones, we paid him money. What scares me is we pay him, he got his bag, and he doesn't perform. The only reason he performed last season because he wanted to get his bag. And then he got his bag, and now he's like, all right, I got my bag. It is what it is. Now I'm going to put up the numbers that, I'll just put up. If they're superstar, they're superstar. If they're not, they're not. At the end of the day, I got paid.
No, I get you, man. Hey, man, I appreciate you calling in. Rados Primos, it sounded like you had a channel as well?
Yeah, we do. We're growing.
Hey, it's all good. Hey, shout out your channel, man. Let people know.
Yeah, we're on YouTube. We started up in August. We love, Raiders content creating. We see, we love talking Raiders football. It's Raiders Primos. We really just, we want to make another channel that's, fun, where Raiders fans can just come talk their opinions, talk Raiders football, because, at the end of the day, we're all united. We're all Raider Nation, and that's the way it should be. All united.
Facts, 100%, man. I appreciate you calling in, man.
No problem. You guys have a good night.
All right, you too, bro. All right, man. That was a good call.
It's a long way of saying you don't build around a running back.
Yeah.
What I mean?
but it's like he's pretty much, that's Raider Nation right there. That's exactly how I feel. I'm sure you feel the same way. It's like Josh Jacobs is a really good player. He had a great season last season. It would be hard to let him go. But at the same time, if it hits that price tag of 15-16 million a year, that's when you're kind of looking at, okay, you look at the team and be like, all right, does it even make sense to do that? Because we have so many issues, so many holes. We have to build this defense. So
something that I've been working on in the last couple of years, and I still fall in the trap of it every now and then, but it's like you develop a relationship with these players. They create good memories, good feeling moments for you. And when contract time comes up, you want to see the Raiders go out there and extend these guys and pay them. And you want them to be a Raider for life, right? It's a saying among Raider Nation, a Raider for life, a Raider for life. At the end of the day, this is a new modern NFL era. And if it does not make sense for the Raiders, you got to remember the Raiders organization comes before any of the player that's going to go out there and get guaranteed money. So if it's in the best interest for the Raiders organization to go out there and maybe replace Josh Jacobs eventually, I'm okay with that. Just like every single great player, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, they all come to an end with their organization. At some due point, it comes to an end. So I'm always comfortable. Derek Carr, for example, this year.
Mhm.
You know, so now's the time for a new quarterback, new player.
We got a call. We got a call.
Call from.
He's severe.
We got T Severe in the
To
building.
accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
What's going on, T Severe, man? Appreciate you calling in. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on? What's going on, fellas?
What's going
Doing
on?
great. No need to fear, Raider Nation. I'm here where the autumn winds blow.
Hey,
But once I'm here, what's good?
what's up, my brother? How you doing?
I'm doing great, fellas. Man, just want to talk about these quarterbacks real quick, man. Man, Anthony Richardson scares me, man. I feel what Ray is saying about the guy needing reps, but I'm also worried about throwing a guy out there that's not really ready and what that can do to him. You know, that could really confidence, man. That's why I've been on the Stroud train from the beginning.
Mhm.
Like, that's my QB1. I got him over Bryce Young. Just his ability to throw the ball with anticipation, his ability to throw guys open, his pre-snap read, his post-snap read. I mean, you know, it's like, and he like, I watched a lot of Ohio State games this past year because I've been scouting quarterbacks this whole time. This first year I really scouted quarterbacks. Now I'm a UCLA fan, so I watched a lot of questionable quarterbacks play over the years. But I mean, Stroud immediately just jumped off the screen, and he would get better, like, from series to series, like game to game. Like, you would see, like, he might miss a window, or he might, you know, like, not pull the trigger early on, like, especially like early in the year, a few games where it's like, oh man, I wasn't seeing what I wanted to see. But as the year went on, man, he got better and better. And then in that Georgia game, like, when it was all on the line, like, he was a field goal away from, like, taking down, you know, the two-time, you know, national champions and a team that went out and destroyed their opponent in the Natty game, man. So I'm just like, I'm really impressed with that guy. And his biggest knot was his quote-unquote lack of mobility. And then I think he kind of laid that to rest in that Georgia game. And then in our system, you know, we keep being told that Josh doesn't want a guy that's running all the time. Like, that's like a very last resort. And that's what he was criticized for. Like, at times he could have ran, you know, he wouldn't run because his first option is hey, you know, I'm going to put the ball in my playmaker's hands. And I think that's music to
that doesn't sound familiar, though?
Man.
That doesn't sound familiar to a former Raider QB that refused to run?
No, see, I think Gruden tried to encourage Carr to run.
Right.
And I think Carr spoke about that. Like, you know, Gruden would want him to run. And then when he got into Josh's system, Josh was saying, like, you know, we prefer you not do that. And so I think, you know, that was kind of the conflict there. But, you know, I think it's two different preferences for different coaches. And I think it was the same thing for him in college. I think, you know, that they preferred him not to run, especially during the season. But as soon as it came down to, hey, you know what, we're in the college football playoffs, national championship, he let him loose. And when he let him loose, he played the best game I saw any college quarterback play last year, period. And, you know, against a team that's stacked with first-round talent. You know, it's going to be, you know, at least, well, depending on what happens with Jalen Carter, probably like 2 or 3 guys that go in the top 15 picks. So, I mean, and he was missing JSN. So, and I think Marvin Harrison got hurt in that game as well. So he's down his top 2 receivers, plays the best game of his career. So, I mean,
yeah, that was
everything that you're saying about CJ Stroud is true. And if you're getting the CJ Stroud that's in the Georgia game, obviously you're going to turn in that ticket and you're going to be happy, right? Nothing you said about CJ is wrong, and I don't think what you said about Anthony Richardson is completely wrong. I would say this is, for some guys, it is best that they sit a year. But there are some people, let me just use myself as an example. Being in a skills trade, just like a quarterback position is a skills trade, you can sit behind and I can watch another man work for a whole year. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to improve my skill set. Some people have to get hands-on. Some people have to have those. I want Anthony to get in there year one, say he was the Raiders pick. I want him to feel the pressure of a primetime game. Because he has 13 career games, I want to see him get out there and make those mistakes and learn from them. If you're having a quarterback that has shaky confidence, I agree. Maybe you do sit him behind a Jarrett Stidham or whoever the case may be. and let him get that year of developing. But I think Anthony Richardson is a guy with a confidence and a swagger and a personality that he's ready to go day one, and he's willing to learn, and he's willing to take those bumps and bruises along the way. And I think Raider Nation needs to accept that the Raiders aren't just a quarterback away from going and competing for a championship. So this isn't going to be an overnight fix regardless of what rookie quarterback we go and get. So I think the Raider Nation needs to be patient, and the real question is who are they willing to be patient with long enough?
And T. Severe, one question for you. Do you see do you see CJ Stroud being better than Mahomes or Justin Herbert?
See, I don't see. Well, I see him being a Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert level player. If you look at his strength,
Wow.
His strengths are right. He's like, it's uncanny the similarities between him and Joe Burrow. Things that were said about them coming out of college. The difference is, I think Joe Burrow had more talent than he had a better senior year or a better final year in college than Stroud had. But he also had more talent the final year. You know, with Jay Jets, Jamar Chase, the other receiver, I forget his name. He also was like a second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
He had more talent, but their strengths and weaknesses, they're both guys play with great, play from the pocket, precision, accuracy. Could throw guys open. The ball placement is uncanny. I mean, the similarities are there, and I think he can be like a top 7-ish for the quarterback, and he can come in day one and be your day one starter. Now, I agree with what Ray is saying about Anthony Richardson, but what I think people don't understand is sometimes not don't understand, but they don't consider is that these guys, they're like, if you have a rookie first round pick or any rookie quarterback, a lot of times they're still running scout team. So they're still getting, live reps just in a controlled environment. That way you can control their development and guide them in a way that, they won't go out there and embarrass themselves on national television. And some guys have the personality, like you said, some guys have the personality where they can take that beating, take being called, people saying you suck and get you off the field and calling you all out your name. Some guys can take that beating and, be better for it. But I'd rather, especially with a guy like that, like you said, only 13 starts, not great accuracy, even though his pocket presence is good. He was good in the intermediate, but his short throws weren't great. Deep throws were kind of hit or miss. I'd rather control that guy's development and then, unleash him, when he's fully ready or when we feel he's ready to be unleashed. And us not being, championship contender, I agree with that. But a lot can change in 1 year. We have a good draft this year. We have a good free agency class. 2 years ago, we blew the Eagles off the field. 2 years later, they're in the Super Bowl. So, right. A lot can change very quickly. The NFC East was the weakest division 2 years ago. This past year, they put 3 teams in the playoffs. So a lot of things can change in 1 year. If you nail free agency, you nail the draft, you can make some things happen quickly.
Hey, I appreciate the call, T. Severe. Any last thoughts, man? Anything that you're looking forward to this offseason with the Raiders?
Man, I'm just looking forward to this free agency, man. I'm excited about us finally getting a quarterback, a new quarterback. It's exciting times. I just caution people, don't judge the success of this team this year, and don't judge the success of our ex based on this year. Just because they go somewhere else and have success doesn't mean they would have had that same success here. Sometimes the change is what everybody needs, and I think everybody involved will be better for it in the long run.
All right, facts, 100%, man. I appreciate you calling in, T. Severe, man. I appreciate you, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you guys. Keep spinning that heat.
All right, man. You have a good one.
You too.
All right. Man, back-to-back great calls, man. I always hear T. Severe, and he always hits me up on the comment section with some good comments. Has really good insight, man. He knows what he's talking about, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate everybody calling in and coming through to the chat. I see everybody talking in here. And before we actually head out, we're actually gonna do do you have it? You have it up?
Yeah, I've got one pulled up.
We're gonna do a little mock draft. Let's make it interesting. And yeah, man, we're making it interesting. And then also our next show as well is going to be a fun show because it's going to be a show pretty much previewing free agency, which is it's next week.
No, this is ridiculous, guys. Test him one more year.
That's
my
fault. Hold up. I'm trying to
All right, man. Let me get into the chat, man. Look, Anthony Provincius, Carl had terrible procurements. It was frustrating. Yeah, man. He wasn't the greatest at it, but he improved little by little. This year, he took a step back for sure. Almo, I think his potential is Burrow. Those things that you're talking about is all teachable. Are you talking about CJ Stroud or are you talking about Anthony Richardson, Almo? ONT6 says he is here. Oh man, ONT6 in the building. Daniel Kim says, I don't know if he agrees. Stroud's moxie isn't Burrow. He stares down at receivers and doesn't move QBs with his eyes as good as Burrow. All right, so T Severe, if you're still in the chat, man, Daniel Kim's coming for you right now.
So I kind of want to talk about real quick the Anthony Richardson situation, because I think when we get this pre-draft talk and about these guys aren't ready, they're not ready year one, blah blah blah. When you look at all the top quarterbacks in the National Football League right now, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, all of these guys were guys who were projected not to be ready for the National Football League. This is where all the couch GMs and nobody calling in. I'm not calling you guys the couch GM, but I'm saying as a consensus, as a whole, all these people who think that they understand what's going on, they believe that these quarterbacks aren't ready, and every single one of these quarterbacks that they say are not ready for year one are the ones who could actually come in and show out and perform at a high level in National Football League. You get guys like Zach Wilson when everybody's like, oh, this guy's the for sure pick. He's NFL ready. He can plug in and start day one. They struggle. You can go down the list of guys taken early of, oh, they're ready. They can plug and play. And a lot of them struggle. So I just want to keep that in mind. Like, typically when everybody is telling me to look left, I'm naturally going to start looking right, just based off of the situation. Can you see my screen, by the way?
Yeah, I can see the screen. Do you want to delete that ad that's popping up on the bottom of that page? Because it's blocking some of the picks on the bottom. There you go. And then just delete that. Stop showing this ad. Yeah, stop seeing this ad. Oh, then it's
yeah, this is completely inappropriate.
Asking you questions. Yeah. Are you sure?
Yeah, ridiculous.
Oh man.
Oh, this is turning into a nightmare.
It's all good. We're just gonna have to.
Right, yeah, we'll just scroll down here. Yeah. All right, we're gonna start. We're talking at Chicago number 1. To me,
I feel like they're gonna trade that pick. I
want to trade. So we're gonna look down on this. My personal opinion, I think this might be Indy. Would you agree with that, or do you want to say the Panthers?
I think Indy's a believable one because right now they can't afford to miss on a QB because the regime that's currently there has been trying to put in, you name it, veteran QB to lead this team, and they've been, it hasn't worked. I mean, Phillip Rivers maybe worked for one season, but after that it hasn't really worked. So they need to nail this QB draft. Whoever they're going to draft a QB, but they need to get their guy.
Oh, good Lord. Can't risk it. This is saying it's not enough.
So they're at number 4, right? The Colts are number 4. So they're probably going to have to give up like a couple of first-round picks, maybe a second rounder.
All right, well, they're not letting me send a trade through. So let's just do it as if they're going to pick. Because I think that they're going to get their guy anyways. So I was going to trade this down to 4, and I think that they're going to get their guy potentially regardless. So I'm actually going to go Will Anderson, edge defender. With all the talk going around Jalen Carter, I think that this is just going to be the best.
Will Anderson, number 1.
Will Anderson, which really, if they would have let the trade go through, he would have probably been there at 4 for me.
Man. Would you agree? Like you agree that this is probably going to get traded, the first number 1 pick?
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, we're not trading number 1 pick. I just want to let y'all know we're not trading number 1 pick because it's not allowing us to trade. So we're just gonna act like Chicago is gonna draft.
So we might actually do this one. Let's just do no trades since the first overall pick kind of messed everything up. Other trades might be able to go through, but I don't want to ruin it.
Okay.
We're gonna stick firm and just pick what we believe these teams would take.
Okay.
Houston sitting at number 2. I think that this is a no-brainer. I think you go quarterback Bryce Young, you pair him up with D'Amico, and you start the new regime. And I think the Texans are off to a right start of rebuilding their football team. Arizona, this is a team that I heavily see trading down. So teams like the Panthers, teams like the Raiders, this is where you could see a trade up happen in real life. Arizona's going to trade out of this pick, I believe. But sitting here at pick number 3,
you see, early on, I was thinking maybe possibly Jalen Carter goes here.
This is where I think Jalen goes.
But that being said, the news and a lot can change between now and the draft. So I don't know what's going to happen between the thing that's going on in back in Georgia where he was, I guess they had him in. I think did they charge him with a misdemeanor?
It's a misdemeanor right now, which is essentially nothing. It's $1,000 fine. So let's just say that this sticks to a misdemeanor case, which all signs so far are pointing. That's what he has right now on the table. So let's just roll with what's on the table right now.
And I also read that the Cardinals have a history of taking guys
with
big
character.
guys. Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this guy changes the interior of their defensive line. This is something that they need drastically. I think that this is also a no-brainer. Jalen Carter is the pick. So we're sitting here on the board with CJ Stroud, Tyree Wilson, Christian Gonzalez, Devin Witherspoon, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson. So you still have a ton of picks. We're at pick 4 here. And I don't know if you noticed this, Pharaoh, but at the NFL Combine, CJ Stroud had a warm welcome by the fans. Indiana being so close to Ohio, he's got a lot of fans over here in the Midwest. I think it's a no-brainer. Colts get the most QB-ready quarterback on the board to go and fit in, and I think that the pick is CJ Stroud. Would you agree?
Yep. They're taking a QB without a doubt. They have to.
Okay. So this is where it gets interesting. Seattle re-signs Geno Smith to a 3-year deal, over $100 million. It looks like he's going to be the guy for the foreseeable future. So I think Seattle is going to do what Seattle does, and that's add athletic freaks to the defensive side of the football. So in my opinion, I say that they're probably going to take a Tyree Wilson.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, hold up. What happened here? Did it say pick 6 is Tyree Wilson? What happened?
Yeah, why number 7 on the board? So hold up, go up. Go back to you can't go. Can you go to the previous pick? Because it says Detroit.
It says Detroit picked Tyree Wilson.
All right.
Oh, okay. So Christian Gonzalez got picked to Seattle, which honestly, that's not even that. I don't know. I don't know what happened right there. Detroit, Tyree Wilson. Okay. They add to the defensive front anyways. I was going to go Christian Wilson.
This is the first mock draft, y'all, so don't worry. As we're going to have plenty of these, so we're going to see what's going to happen. As it gets closer to the draft, you're going to see better mock drafts.
Yeah.
But be honest with you, this is kind of realistic, but I don't see Anthony Richardson dropping past Detroit. I think Detroit takes him.
I think Detroit goes defensive.
They have 2 first-round picks. And they have to feel like, okay, can we get them at number 16? I think number 16 or 12. I think they have number 12 pick, or they have the 16.
I think they ride with Jared Goff, and if this season was a disaster for some weird reason, they've got a huge QB draft next year. So I think you roll with Jared Goff, and I think you continue to add pieces to the defensive side of the football. This is a defensive-minded coach. They're building a really dynamic defense in Detroit, and it would not surprise me at all to see them even take a Tyree Wilson, to take a Christian Gonzalez. Like, these are guys that they're going to be high on, and I'm not holding out that they're going to take a defensive player.
Okay.
Now, Raider Nation, this is where you guys get involved, and this is going to be our last pick of the night because the Raiders are making.
Hey, you know what? Hey, I'll look. You know what I'll do? I'll do something I haven't done in a while. Is actually do a poll in the chat, and let's see here. We'll let the chat. Let's see. pop out chat. What the hell? Have you done a poll before on the chat?
Yeah, we did it on my channel before.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where Raider Nation wants to go because there's some good players on the board, and this might actually be a situation where the Raiders decide to trade down too. So I don't know. I'm curious to get Raider Nation's reaction.
Yeah, I'm. In the meantime, just break down who's on the board, and
Okay.
then I'll try to set up.
So on the board right now at 7, it's got Devon Witherspoon. It's my CB1. You can make the case he's CB2 behind Gonzalez. I could see why he's CB1 longer. But I just love the swagger that Devon Witherspoon plays with. I think he would fit in the Raiders culture like a glove. So Devon Witherspoon's on the board. Quarterback Will Levis is on the board. Anthony Richardson is on the board. And then you're moving into players that I don't believe should be taken here at this spot. You've got the Miles Murphys, the Paris Johnsons, the Peter Skornonski, Joey Porter, Quentin Johnson, Bijan Robinson. These are all players that I don't feel comfortable taking at 7. And to be honest, I could see the Raiders trading back here. Maybe Carolina wants to come up to 7 and grab a Will Levis or grab an Anthony Richardson, and the Raiders can move back to pick
I'll make
9.
it simple because everybody's thinking about it. Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, or defense.
Yeah.
Would you say those are the top 3 things that people are thinking about right now at number 7?
It's on the board.
Okay, so I just figured it out.
But yeah, this could be where I see Carolina come up. Carolina might even come up to Arizona's pick. They might come up to Seattle's pick, or maybe even Detroit. Detroit might also feel comfortable trading out of that 6th spot. So I don't know.
Okay. At number 7. All right. Appreciate y'all patience, y'all. Look, all right. So I'm about to add. Who do the Raiders select at number 7? All right. Do you guys see the poll pop up? If y'all can go ahead and just vote. Who do the Raiders select at number 7? We got Anthony Richardson. We got Will Levis. Obviously, he's a quarterback that some people have mocked to the Raiders. And then we also have defense. I mean, we can take some cornerbacks. Obviously, Christian Gonzalez got taken up in this draft already, but Witherspoon's on the board. A few other defensive players are on the board. Miles Murphy, a few guys on the board or you know what? I didn't put O-line in there, but that could possibly be a possibility. Who knows? You know what I mean? Because that right side hasn't been.
I think if you trade down, so. I think 7's a little bit too rich for this class in particular. Peter Skornowski, he's probably going to work out as a guard. Paris Johnson is maybe the guy, but still at 7, that might be a little bit rich, especially with guys like Devon Witherspoon on the board.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your 2 quarterback prospects that you could probably work with. This is either trade down or quarterback for me. So it's really the decision. Are we going to go Will Levis or are we going Anthony Richardson? If these 2 are on the board and you had a choice between these 2 players, you go first. If these 2 players are the only ones on the board, who are you taking?
I'm going Anthony Richardson. I'm telling you right now, there's no way we don't take Anthony Richardson with his upside at number 7. I think that when you're in the AFC West with Patrick Mahomes, and just think about the AFC QBs in general, like if the Raiders don't have a good look, the reason why we were Raider Nation has been so split on Derek Carr is because deep down we kind of known like we couldn't really win with him. You know what I mean? He's a solid QB, good QB, but he's in a division with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and then Russell Wilson gets traded to the division. I know he had a tough year last year, but guess what? Sean Payton, one of the best offensive minds in football, is now going to be coaching them. So it's like, all right, we need a player that has the potential to be great. You know what I mean? So and a guy like Anthony Richardson gives you that. Now, can you make an argument for some of these other QBs? Yes, but because they're a little bit more pro ready. But look at the upside. The upside is just so huge. I don't know, man. I'm kind of all in on Anthony Richardson. Some guys might be like it's a little risky, but hey, look, we have nothing to lose, man.
And in the whole take that if you take Anthony Richardson and he doesn't work out, it's going to set your organization back 5 years. Look, if the Raiders take Anthony Richardson, this isn't the 2000 era where you take a quarterback this high in the first and they're getting paid $20 million a year. That's not the case. If we see it all the time, you guys, we see organizations move on from players that they took in the first round. I mean, look at the Raiders and their failings with Cleve Farrell and Jonathan Abram and Damon Arnett.
So Anthony Richardson got drafted. Is it timed? Is this timed?
No, I selected him.
Oh, you selected him. Okay, so
That's my guy too.
All right. So let me end the poll here. And let me just look at the poll. Let's see. So who the Raiders select at number 7? 60% said defense. Anthony Richardson, 33%, and Will Levis was a 6% at number 7. Hey, man.
Wow. Raider Nation is filling deep.
Hey, they're keeping it real. They're being honest.
Hey,
I
I love it. I think for me, I don't see that. Oh, it's going to set your franchise back 5 years. I think if AR-15 struggled that bad, and you're like, look, this is not our guy. He's not going to make it in the next season or two. You can go out there and get a quarterback. Or you can go get a veteran, or you can make a trade. You can do a lot of things to go out there and get a quarterback. I don't think it sets back your organization 5 years. I think you take the gamble. I think you throw down the chips on the table and take the risk on a guy who could potentially be a superstar, dynamic player at that quarterback position. So for me, the pick is Anthony Richardson.
And the thing is, too, the crazy thing is the biggest issue with the Raiders hasn't been the QB the last 9-10 years. It's been the fact that they haven't been able to build a roster. You know what I mean? If you compare the Raiders to some of these teams, they haven't been. I think, Ray, are you frozen? I think Ray's frozen.
I'm frozen.
It's all good, man. We'll just we could give you there. But now I think the biggest issue with the Raiders is the fact that they haven't been able to build a roster, and hopefully that will change with this new regime. But we'll see. But were you? Hey, Ray, you still there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, were you planning on doing the whole entire first round, or you just want to do the 7
No,
picks?
we're wrapping it up at pick 7, and we'll do it again.
Okay, all right. We just want to do a sneak little preview, first 7 picks and see how it play out. We're probably gonna maybe use a different format, maybe a different mock draft. I don't know if you guys have any ideas. I think PFN was a good one. Which one was this, Ray? I don't know if you're still there.
This one was Mock Draft Simulator by NFL MockDraftDatabase.com.
Okay, so you went. I ain't never heard of that one. Man, hold on one second. Let me pull this out. But yeah, man. Hey, we appreciate everybody coming through, man. It was a great show. We were able to get some calls in. We were able to do a mock drafts, talk about the combine. If you guys haven't already, please hit that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate the support. The road to 3,000 is right around the corner. So, and also subscribe to my guy Raider Ray. He's also growing as well. So you want to make sure you hit the like button on his channel and subscribe, because we're going to switch off next week. We'll be doing a preview show for free agency. So make sure to subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. But Ray, you still there? You have any last thoughts?
Nope. I thought it was a great show. Sorry everybody for it freezing up on this end, but no, I appreciate everybody tuning in with us tonight, man.
It's all good, man. Hey, till next time. Peace out, Raider Nation.
Great Pharaoh. The gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the 5 rivers.
Just win, baby. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.